Hello there. This is Craig Hain. My students call me Dr. Dell. And if you don't know me, I'll tell you all about myself in a moment. But first, I want to talk about this video is going to be about love, math, and hate. Love, math, and hate. Now, it was inspired by a book that came out in 1985 by Robert Monroe called Far Journeys, the name of the book. And I reread it just very recently, or reread parts of it. I don't understand all of it, but very fascinating. This was a guy who did a lot of what were called out-of-body experiences, not only with him, but a lot of other people. And it really proved that there's way more to life than our standard science understands. In fact, it's another proof that there's something beyond the physical world, like God exists. And this book, very fascinating. And on page 254, he talks about what is it that motivates us, our lives? What determines our life? And here's what he says: emotion in all forms to be unknowing expressions of our prime energy drive. What drives us? Or the creative force inherent in each of us. So we're life, and we have a creative force within us, prime energy drive, he calls it, and it's emotion that drives that. Now, emotions are lots of things, and you know what emotions are. Joy, sadness, I'm reading off of you, as anger, happiness, hate, friendship, nostalgia, possessiveness, loyalty, ego, greed, guilt, fun, worry, anxiety, among others. Love being perhaps one of the most significant, and hate being, in my view, the other one. I think they're kind of antonyms, opposite of each other, love and hate. I think it's hard to experience both emotions at the same time. Maybe you can. I think it's hard for me to do it. Then he goes ahead in the next paragraph and he says, and this is what's really important: emotion is the key to and the driving force underlying every thought and action in human existence. Wow. Just think about that. And the more I think about it, I think he's right. I tend to agree with this. I'm going to reread it. Emotion is the key to and the driving force underlying every thought and action in human existence. In some of my Wisdom Tool videos that you're going to get access to at no cost to start with anyway, the actions you take in life have consequences. And some you like, some you don't like, good and bad, and your definition of them, the consequences. And in another action tool, I talk about wisdom. Wisdom is understanding what will be the consequences of certain actions you're taking. Again, good and bad, short-term, long-term. I have a whole bunch of training on that, video on that, what I call wisdom tools. Okay, well, what's that got to do with math? Well, math is a subject. I call it God's universal language, and it empowers you to do all sorts of things that universal language does. Just like your natural language, I'm doing this in English, that's what I speak, empowers me to do all sorts of things. And if I didn't speak this language, I couldn't do all these things. Go to a foreign country sometime where no one speaks English and just see how hard it is to do anything, to communicate. I've done it, and believe me, you use sign language, and it's difficult, very difficult. If you've never done it, you ought to try it sometime. And so language is very important, and God's language is universal. 2 plus 2 equals 4 in the natural number system anywhere in the world. China, India, Africa, Europe, anywhere. It's God's language. English, well, that's for a certain group of people. Chinese is a different group. I don't speak Chinese at all. I can't even understand their alphabet. Russian, same thing. I can't understand Russian. I don't even understand their alphabet. I kind of understand a little bit of Spanish and French and Italian because it's the same alphabet and it kind of descends from the same root language originally. Like when I got my PhD in mathematics, I had to pass a German test and a French test, both. That was part of getting a PhD. And I'm not very good at either one of those languages. I couldn't read a newspaper in either one of them, but the way they tested me, they gave me a mathematics paper in French and I had to interpret it. Well, because of the math and I understood the math, I could do it. Ditto for German, and I could do it. So I actually passed French and German tests and get my PhD for math because of the math language, universal. Because in a math paper, whether it's German or French or English, the math is still the same. That's universal. Okay, now, what's that got to do with love and hate? Well, if there's a subject that you study and you find it difficult to understand and you don't see the value of it, you're not going to like it. Okay, that's okay not to like something, but what if somebody makes you study it? Like we do in our schools today. We make you study math. We tell you, you got to learn math. And let's say that you can't learn it, you don't understand it, and you don't like it. Well, hate may be a strong word, but I'd say a lot of people hate math. I wrote a book recently called How and Why Public School Math is Destroying the USA. Now, you can buy this on Amazon for less than $5, but I'm going to give you a free PDF copy. Keep watching this video. I'm going to show you how to get a lot of free stuff. One will be a free PDF copy of this book. And anybody in the United States today, interested in our education of our children at all, should read this book because it explains why the public school math is destroying the USA. Now, I also point out on the back of this very book, public school math is a disgrace, and we're all victims. The students are victims, but so are the math teachers. And in fact, the schools are victims because it's a system problem. And I explain all that in the book. I also explain in the book how today, in this 21st century, thanks to some modern fantastic technologies, we can now teach students math in a way they can understand it, and it's of value to them. And instead of having 90% of students don't like math and don't do well in it, 90% can like math and do well in it. Love and hate may be a bit of a strong word. Like and dislike might be better, but I think the truth is a lot of people hate math. And when you have to study a subject you don't understand and you don't like it and you don't see the value of it, you tend to hate it. That was my experience. I had to take some subjects I didn't like and I didn't do well in them. And hate may be a strong word, but I didn't like them. Now, okay, so what's the deal? How can you or some students you know, whether you're a high school student, middle school, college, maybe you're out of school, maybe you dropped out of school, maybe because of math. How can you learn this? Okay, I'm going to tell you what I do I have a 6-tier program that solves this problem. And you're going to get access to it very inexpensively. In fact, you're going to get access to it for a period of time for free. The first thing that I do, is I teach a young student how to use a scientific calculator, the TI-30XA. It's about a $10 calculator today. It's a fantastic calculator. This thing is incredible. If they'd have had one of these on the Manhattan Project when they were doing the atomic bomb in the early 1940s, they'd been worth $1 million. Oh my golly, this would have been worth so much to them. Just one of these would have been worth a tremendous amount to them because it lets you do arithmetic quick and easy with no mistakes. It's easy to do. The old manual techniques of doing arithmetic are very difficult. They're hard to learn. They're boring. They're error prone. And people don't like them. They learn them. They have to learn them. And that's what's taught in our public schools today, the old manual. When's the last time you divided two big numbers or multiplied two big numbers? I haven't done it for decades. And by the way, I have a PhD in math, and I've taught all the manual tools for many decades because I was teaching before the calculators came out. And you had to learn the old manual tools. And they were frustrating for a lot of students. Okay, this is easy to do. My lesson, by the way, is tutorial videos that come off of Amazon Web Services. Oh my God, thank for that. I have notes and exercises. You used to have to print them out from PDFs, but now you can buy them very inexpensively from a great printer I'll tell you about. Very inexpensively. Okay, that's great. How many lessons to master this calculator, the practical stuff on it? 16 lessons. Most students do it in about 2 weeks. So you can learn this calculator, how to do all the arithmetic you'll ever need to do for practical math. And when I say 2 weeks, that's like an hour a day, maybe 3 weeks. And more important than that is fun. It's easy to do. It's kinesthetic. It's very easy to do. In fact, when I have students go through and learn this, they go, well, this can't be math. This is easy. This is fun. This is like a game. Well, yeah, it is like a game. It's like an easy game, by the way. Very easy to learn the rules of this, okay? Well, that's fun and dandy. Now, what do you do with it? Okay, you calculate. Well, what do you calculate? Well, one of the tools you use in practical math, in technology, all technical fields, is a subject called algebra. Oh my golly. Most of you have had algebra. You don't like it. You didn't like it. You didn't enjoy it. And the reason is The way they teach algebra in schools today, for everything that you learn that you would find a value and you would use, they give you 10 things you'll never use and are hard things to learn. I teach you all the practical algebra you need in 10 lessons, 10. And it's not hard, it's easy. In fact, I tell students, they say, well, this calculator is easy to learn. Well, algebra is not going to be any more difficult, practical algebra, and it isn't. Now, what do you apply it to? Algebra by itself is of no value. You apply it to something. We apply it to geometry. 19 lessons in practical geometry. How long is something? What is the area? What's the volume? Most students go through that again, very quick and easy. They love it. They go, well, this is math is easy. I thought math was hard. Well, it is the way it's taught in public schools. The way it's taught in our standard math curriculum is horrible. It's very difficult. It's very easy now. All the arithmetic you do with a calculator. You don't have to ever sit down and multiply and divide and take square roots and all that, which you need to do with algebra and geometry. You got to do all those things. You apply algebra and geometry, you end up having to take square roots and multiply and divide and all that sort of thing. Now, there's one thing algebra and geometry don't do. They don't handle angles very well. You need a third subject called trigonometry. That really scares people. Oh my golly, trigonometry. Most people never took it. Most people don't know about it. And if they did take it, they didn't like it. They struggle with it. Why? Again, it's the way it's taught. I teach you 7 lessons of trigonometry, and that's all the practical trig you'll ever need. And when you get done with that, practical algebra, geometry, and trig, you'll be ready now to go to work for in any technical subject. I'm talking about engineering now, but technical subjects. There's 1,000 technical subjects that if you know the practical math, they were easy to learn. Hydraulics, pneumatics, carpentry, landscaping, electrical, on and on and on. And they're high paying. If you want a high paying job today, I have another wisdom till I talk about that. Do you really need to go to college? Most kids don't need to go. But how can you get a high paying job? It's easy to do in a technical field that you enjoy doing. If you can get into it, an apprentice program or someone will take you on and hire you and teach it to you, you got to know practical math, which is what you've learned now. How long does it take you to do this practical math? Well, it's self-paced. It varies from student to student. There's no one answer to it, but most students, average students, I'm not talking about geniuses or brilliant, average students, and most of us are average, learn my practical math, algebra, geometry, and trig, and how they in 3 months, 1 semester. And bingo, they know more math than 95% of all the people in this country. They're ready for the military. Oh my golly. Well, you take tests for these subjects. I've got one testimonial. A guy wanted to go into welding and he couldn't do it. He didn't know the math. He'd gotten out of the military. It's one of the many testimonials I've got for it. And he couldn't do math. And he heard about my program. He took it. Bingo. Got into welding school, welding. This was some years ago. Now he's got his own company, doing really well. But he had to learn the practical math first, just like you got to know how to speak a language. If you're going to succeed in life, you got to learn a natural language. Well, in our country, the USA, it's English for most of us. Spanish is fine, but there'll be a lot of jobs you can't do if all you speak is Spanish, although it's getting more common. Okay, so what's that got to do with, again, love and hate? Well, if there's a subject that they force you to take and you don't like it and you hate it, that's hate. That's a bad emotion. That's going to have a negative impact on your health and on your life, and just on your emotions in general. If you like it or love it, but even if you just like it, then that's going to have a positive effect on you. So that's why I said math. Love it or hate it. Like it or dislike it. Maybe those are a little bit extreme. Well, today, thanks to 21st century technology, and I only started doing it. I've been teaching math off and on for 80 years. I mean, for a long time, I've taught math. In the early years, decades, it was practical math because that's all you could do. Then calculators came out and began to use calculators. Now today, it's so easy. And the technology, I could do the tutorial videos. It's like kitchen table math, I call it. Very informal. I'm teaching you like you're sitting at my kitchen table, and I'm telling you this and then this, and I stop the video and do this. Stop the video and do that. If you don't understand this, back up and look at it again. You control it. I'm the tutor, but you control me. You can back me up. You can go forward. You can get away, come back later, which I often propose you to do. If you're not understanding right away and it gets fuzzy, take a break, come back. Your subconscious mind will work. I explain that in another wisdom tool. Okay, so how can you do all this? Okay, I have a website. My name is Craig Hain, and you go to my personal website, and I'm going to share the screen with you and go to that website. If I can do this now, get the technology to work, bingo, bango. There's my personal website, craighain.com. CraigHane.com. Now, on this website, I got my VTA, my story, and you can learn all about it. I also will get you a free copy, a PDF copy of that book, Public School Math Destroying the USA. Go right down here, get your free ebooks, and that'll be one of them. There's a lot of others that are free too I'm giving you. I have a video library with all kinds of math subjects. Once you get interested in math, you'll find a lot of these videos really interesting and enjoyable. But they're not training, they're just interesting videos. But here's the one I want. Learn how to improve your life. Now, by that, I mean two things to improve your life. And click on that. And when you click on that, you're going to go to a new web page, craighane.com/TMT. And I explained to you here in a short video how you can improve your life by joining something I call the Triad Math Tribe. And what can happen is, first of all, you're going to get an optimal math education, whatever you need for you and your family. Now, I talked about practical math, but my math training, that's the first 2 tiers out of 6. It goes beyond that. If you happen to have somebody you know that's interested in science and engineering, my upper tiers are phenomenal. They just don't believable. You won't believe today because I use a modern tool, 21st century tool to teach calculus and differential equations and all the science math you need. And it makes it much, going from a difficulty level of 8 with manual tools down to 2. It's fantastic. The tool's called Wolfram Alpha, by the way. You're going to have a bunch of wisdom tools. They're going to help you solve problems that you run into. I've had problems. Everybody has problems in their life. I've had lots of problems in my life, up and down, up and down. But thanks to other people, I got wisdom tools that I learned that helped me solve all these problems, and I solved them all. Take advantage of opportunities that otherwise you can take advantage of. That's number 5. If you need help in improving your credit score, the tribe will help you do that if you're an adult, 18 years or older. And you can also earn some money by helping other people, and that's any age, whether you're 18 or not. And so when you go to this video and you click on that, that's going to take you to the Triad Math Inc. Triad Math Tribe, and you're going to learn all about it. Now, in a nutshell, it costs you so much a month, but there's no risk. You're going to be able to join it, and what will happen is you give a credit card for your first month, but we don't charge it until the end of the month. So you got a whole month now to go in and do all of it. Do as much of this as you can in a month. You can certainly learn a calculator and maybe a lot more. If you don't love it and you don't think it's for you, tell us that before the end of the first month, and we'll never charge you. And you'll drop you out of the tribe. You'll no longer be a member, but we won't charge you. Most people, 5% of all the people, want to stay in the tribe because there's so many benefits to it, and it's long term. It's not just short term, as you'll learn all about. Once you join the tribe, you'll learn all about that. So this is Craig Hane, and that's what I wanted to tell you. Math is no longer something that you should have a negative emotion. You can have a positive emotion. More than that, you can have a tool now that'll open up all sorts of career opportunities for you if you're looking for one. A lot of students today shouldn't go to college. They don't need to go to college. College, for some students, is the right thing to do. By the way, one of my wisdom tools is I teach you how to go to college without debt. You want to go to college? Fine. I'll show you how to do it with no debt. And I'm not assuming you come from rich parents. Now, if you have rich parents going to pay for it, that's fine and dandy, but most people don't. And college today, if you don't know how to do it right, is quite expensive. You can run up a lot of debt, and you may not be able to pay it off very easily. Well, you don't need to run up any debt to go to college, and I'll show you how to do that. But a lot of people don't need to go to college. They need, once they learn the practical math, they get into an apprentice program, learn some technical subject, and make $100,000 a year. If you learn a technical subject that people want to pay you to do, you can make a very good living at it. Depends on where you are, what part of the country. You might make $150,000 in New York City, and maybe you only make $75,000 in Sullivan, Indiana, because difference in all sorts of things. But the bottom line is you make a very good living if you learn that. And so that's it too. So bottom line is, go to my website, go to the Improve Your Life videos, join the Triad Math Tribe. And if you do that, at the very minimum, it will cause you to not have any fear of math and not hate math and so on. And that alone will improve your physical health and your mental health. It'll improve your life dramatically. And that's just the way it is. That's the name of the game. I'm telling you how it is. So this is Craig Hane, Dr. Dale. I hope you take my advice and follow up. It's free to follow up. It costs you nothing to try it. That's the whole point. And there's only one testimonial, by the way, that matters in terms of whether this worked for you. And that's your testimonial. Doesn't matter what else. It's worked for hundreds of other people. I got lots of testimonials. So what? Will it work for you? And you got to go find out. And so if you care about improving your life, you want to have a better life, you go do that. And I'll guarantee you it'll work. And you'll be seeing me on lots and lots of videos. Okay. Bye-bye. Nice talking to you. Have a great life.